morning, guys. Welcome back to another video. Rope Monster here. Thursday morning, and I'm on a beach that actually has no name. I started my day today very early, getting on a colectivo, coming to the south end of town, and I started walking all the way from the ferry terminal way off in the distance. Not sure if you guys can see that. About a 3-mile walk to get to this beach, and I wanted to show you this spot. It is pristine. I got here at around 9 this morning and there were actually no people here. Unfortunately, I couldn't start filming because I had an issue with the iPhone 13 that I'm using to film. It basically just said iPhone unavailable, try again in 1 hour. So I just sat in the shade and ate pistachios for like an hour, and luckily it's working. But this is what I wanted to show you here. From this point, there was no resort security or lifeguard on duty. Perfect. So we're leaving the crowds behind us. So right now we're looking north, and Playa Car is up there, the ferry terminal, and we're gonna start walking south and enjoy the tranquility and the mystery, because I've only been a little ways farther south from here, and I want to keep exploring and share it with you guys. So the other side of that ferry terminal is where I filmed my video on Playa Centro. So we're far south of that beach. And honestly, this part of the beach really doesn't look like Playa del Carmen. It's kind of its own feel down here. So unfortunately, I wish I would have been able to start this video about an hour and a half ago with nobody here, but you can still see there's not huge crowds down here. It's a nice place to come get away from the crowds, especially if you get here early. So there's a path that goes up through here, then we can also walk down around the water. And of course we have lots of Instagram photo shoots going on. Why wouldn't there be? This is a beautiful spot. And here we are. It's not that I have anything against people, I just search far and wide for the unspoiled beaches of the world. And they're becoming harder and harder to find, but I'm always super excited when I do find them. Wow. And yeah, you see this spot, only 2 people here enjoying that. This water is unreal. So much more clear down here to the south than it is up in the north part of Playa del Carmen. And it is actually a little windy today, but I've been here on days where this is like a swimming pool. You know, just barely any waves coming in. yeah, I can't really think of a better place to spend a morning. Some of the most remote beaches I've found have been on the Greek islands, some of the lesser known Greek islands. One island that I really liked was Paros, and the other one was Ano Koufanisi. Underwater limestone caves, crystal clear water. So I will be going back to Greece to explore more. I think there are something like 224 inhabited islands, Greek islands, and I've explored 5 of them. So from what I've experienced, each one is completely unique and deserves some attention. So it's a long flight, but totally worth it. For now, I'm just going to keep exploring Mexico. There's so much to see just right here in the Playa del Carmen area that even 6 months here probably won't be even close to enough to find all the secret spots, but I'm working on it. Look at this. Whew. That is nice. That kind of Curacao blue water. That's really something. And so yeah, we're looking back north there, kind of getting that good feeling in my gut, like we're in the middle of nowhere. Unfortunately, the plastic issue is something you'll see almost anywhere. Kind of sad when you see it like this in a pristine, untouched place. It's always a good reminder to really be careful about reusing and recycling your plastics. The consequences are pretty terrible, if not. You see all that. So, but back to the beauty of this place. One of the lifeguards I spoke with a few weeks ago when I was down in this area told me that you can actually walk all the way to Xcaret Adventure Park. So that would be quite the adventure. We might do it today. I don't know. It just depends on how things go. I think the tide is going out. I actually got pretty wet getting to this point, and that's something to be aware of if you're coming to this spot and you're walking south from the ferry terminal. You're walking along the beach the whole way, and if the tide is high, you're absolutely getting wet. And so keep like a 10 or 20 liter dry bag with you, and then an extra dry bag or pouch for your cell phones. So this is where I was having my pistachio break, waiting for my iPhone to start cooperating. And you can see this is a really nice place to catch some shade, a little break from the sun. There aren't too many shady spots on this walk, so also another piece of advice is to bring at least a t-shirt, if not also like a long sleeve linen lightweight shirt. And that's what kept me from coming down this far south on my last trip. Was basically I ran out of water and all I had with me was a tank top, and I was getting scorched. Wow. So this time I have 3 liters of water, at least a t-shirt and a hat. I did not have a hat last time either, so I was cooked. So now together we are entering uncharted territory. I haven't been this far at all to the south, and we're just going to follow this and see where it goes. super windy right now. Hopefully the new audio system is doing a nice job of dampening or blocking that wind out altogether. Oh yeah, this is definitely pretty exposed to the wind here, but beautiful in its own way. And this is one thing that keeps me feeling like a kid, keeps me young, is exploring. I get this feeling in my gut when I'm seeing things I've never seen before. It's always a really good feeling. And then when I do go back to town or back to whatever it is I have to do, I always feel refreshed, rejuvenated. And the walking definitely keeps me young too. I mean, people talk about getting your 10,000 steps or however many steps in a day. It's not uncommon for me to walk 10 or 15 miles a day when I'm exploring. And so you can imagine the footwear. The footwear is really important. I can't be barefoot on all these walks. Got to have some support. Especially some of the hikes I did, like in Ecuador, it was definitely sandal weather, but the hikes were pretty dangerous, right on sheer cliffs, exposed to heavy wind. And so I've been using these Keens, and they have incredible traction, grip, pretty decent ankle support for basically a sandal. And I'm not affiliated with them at all. I just really like their products. But if they're watching, I'm open to it. Wow, look at that water right there. So I'm also scoping out a spot to swim. It's getting toward midday now, and I've got a long walk back, as you can see. And so there's no way I'm not gonna jump in here and cool off a little bit before that. So I think we just found our own little beach. Wow, that's gonna be where I swim for sure. And I'm gonna give this beach a name because I don't think it, I mean, maybe someone else named it, but I'm gonna name it. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think I should name this beach. By the end of the day, it's gonna have a name. Oh man, yeah. That feels perfect. And it actually gets it gets fairly deep here pretty quick, so looks like a pretty good swimming spot. Especially imagine this on a day with no wind and no waves. And there is a coral reef just right off the coast that runs north-south all the way quite a ways to the north, 6-7 miles to the north and beyond, into all the way to Puerto Morales. So probably a good jump off point to do some snorkeling too. All right, let's keep going. Let's see where this goes. I'm intrigued. At this point, I gotta keep going till there's no way I can keep going. And so if you're wondering about where we are in terms of the map, if you Google map Playa Car, that's Playar, Playa Car, we are about 3 miles to the south of there. And there's just not a soul in sight at this point. So probably a good place to bring a picnic and just spend a day if you're trying to decompress. Let's see if there's a path over here that follows this fence line. And if not, we'll try to keep going around the coast. Yeah, I don't see much there. Yeah, that looks pretty bushwhacker status. I would need a machete to really do that properly. So let's see if we can get around this point here. Whew. So watch out for those sneakers. And I am using the DJI Osmo gimbal for the iPhone 13, and I love DJI, but their stuff is a little bit infamous for not being the most waterproof. So let's see if I can proceed with caution. Yeah, all right, nice. So, did I mention proper footwear? Yeah, definitely important. I wouldn't be wanting to do this in flip-flops. In fact, look at that, man down right there. That did not survive the trek. I think I spent a solid like $150 on these at REI before I left the Pacific Northwest of the US a little over a year ago. But they haven't aged a bit. Like, there's not one sign of wear on these. I mean, they could last me 5 or 10 years at this rate. Oh man, that looks nice back in there. Maybe I'll poke my head around this point if I can, and then if it doesn't look very easy to pass, I'll go there and see if I can go through that little bit of jungle. Okay, I mean, there's some people up here doing it. Looks like it's possible. That beach right there is also looking pretty tempting. I think I'll keep going, and for those of you who have stuck around to this point in the video, thank you so much. It means the world to me. Smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. And for those of you who want to stick around for the rest of the adventure, let's keep going. I think I'm going to try to see if there's a route through the jungle. These people look like they're struggling a little bit. So let's see if there's a trail that goes through here. Yeah, kind of looks like a trail. All right, let's just dive into the jungle. And if it's not a trail, maybe we'll just find another chill, shady spot for potential pistachio eating in the future. Oh yeah, this is super chill back here. Wow. Like instant calm came over my body. I don't see any clearly marked trail or anything like that, but there is a fence line here. Let's see if we can use that fence line and just kind of keep going for a while and then cut back over to the water. Oh yeah, oh yeah. That's a lot easier than bouldering. What I'm always looking for is a place to stretch out my hammock, because I'm a big fan of the midday nap. I've been studying up a lot on the blue zones and places where people live well over 100 years. One of those is actually Vilcabamba, Ecuador. But one thing those people, almost all of them, have in common, no matter where they are from, what walk of life, is they take naps. Whether it's Okinawa, Japan, or parts of Costa Rica or Ecuador, they take their naps. So that's another thing. I'm looking at this view here, and that's not too shabby. And then I look back behind me and I see a few palms. One thing I always check is, am I going to get hit in the head with a coconut? I don't see any coconuts here, so that's a plus. Oh, there's one coconut, but that's an old one. Oh yeah, I see one there. So always watch out for those if you're setting up your hammock. You do not want to get bonked on the head with a coconut. Coconuts claim more lives every year than shark attacks, actually. So do be aware of that. All right, so this is a potential hammock spot for sure. Just probably stretch between right there, and enjoy that breeze. But let's keep going a little bit farther. Now that that lifeguard told me it's possible to walk that far south, I'm intrigued. Lots of coconuts on the ground here, so fallen coconuts are a thing. So not the worst path through here. Usually if you find a fence, someone has to maintain that fence, and so they'll keep a little bit of the brush cut away and come through with the machete from time to time to maintain the fence. So that's what we found here. Yeah, and it looks like we can just keep going through here. And it's actually not that hot yet. I'm not sweating. I've been in jungles in like parts of Jalisco, Mexico during the rainy season, and I don't even know if I would be able to film because the moisture on the camera lens. I went to a waterfall to the south of Vallarta in a place called Quimixto, and all my photos were blurry from the, wow, look at that, from the fog on the lens, from the humidity. Unbelievable. So this is why I keep going when other people would stop, turn around, or say, well, this spot's good enough, because I'm looking for views like this, places with a breeze where I can set up my hammock. Clearly you can see this palm and this palm would be amazing candidates, those two right there for my hammock, or those two right there. I can stretch my hammock right there and spend the entire day in peace. Whereas right now, this time of day, my apartment would be getting hot. I would have to turn on the AC, and why be in an apartment at all when you can just be here? This is perfect. And now you guys know how to get here. I'm always hesitant a little bit to share these spots, but let's be real. Not a lot of people are gonna walk 4 miles on open exposed beach and then a half a mile or a mile through the jungle to get to these spots. So I really don't think they'll ever blow up and get overcrowded. And I always follow the rule of 3, whether I'm hiking or surfing. I try not to ever bring a big crowd with me wherever I go. Usually just a couple of friends, keep the group small. There's nothing worse than like being at a really chill surf spot and having only 4 or 5 people there sharing the break, and then all of a sudden you have a group of like 15 people show up in a van, and the lineup is an hour waiting to drop in. So same thing with hiking. That sun is right overhead almost, so it's a really nice time of day to be back in the jungle. So we're going to keep following this fence line. And this is beautiful. I can't believe how gorgeous this is. We have some coral here that's washed up. That's pretty cool. This fence is barbed wire, so be aware of that if you make this trek. That is rusty barbed wire, and I actually cut my hand on that same waterfall hike I was talking about on rusty barbed wire on a bridge in Key Mixto, and I asked a young man for a Band-Aid and some first aid stuff, and he went in and got his mom, Isabel, and she brought out some honey, and that, because the wound was starting to itch because of the rust, and so you can get tetanus and have some really serious issues from that. She brought out some honey to pull that toxicity out of my skin, bandaged me up, and then she asked me where I was going, and I said, well, I'm trying to find the waterfalls. And she was an older lady. She was into her 60s, and she described where the waterfalls were, and I went off on my way, and then I heard her call my name, and she said, forget the directions, I'll go with you, I'll take you. And it was a pretty steep uphill walk. And I asked her, when's the last time you made this trek? And she said, about 20 years ago. And so that was beautiful. We shared that hike, and then she invited me back to have lunch with her and her husband in Key Mixto, and they invited me to stay so that I could get an early start on the next day's hike, and I didn't have to start over from square one from Vallarta. And that's a real treat, because if you can get to some of those places at 7 or 8 in the morning, whew, that fence post is loose, then you're going to have the places all to yourself. So that's my Mexico hospitality story for the day. There's many of them. And let's see what this is up here. Maybe we're already getting toward Xcaret. We have this kind of exposed area here. And there's a lot of brush on the ground, so it's pretty hard to tell where to step. So I think I'll go down here actually to the beach and utilize that open space. More broken flip-flops. Another telltale sign to avoid the urge of going cheap on your footwear. Oh wow, this looks like a pretty baller yacht up here. Huge. And admittedly, guys, at this point I don't know where we are. So, and if anyone watching this has been down here, maybe you can tell me, do these beaches have names? I didn't see anything on Google Maps, Apple Maps. But those are my favorite beaches, the ones with no names. So, and I think my dad was actually telling me about this part on the map, saying that there was a part that looked like it would be difficult to get past. And I think this is that point. So let's go ahead and take a peek, just to leave no stone unturned. Feels so good to be out hiking in the sun that I never mind continuing the journey another little while. Gonna cool off the feet. Nice. Alright. So, and I am always looking for signs that say private property or anything like that. I definitely don't want to trespass, but the way that lifeguard made it sound is that this was all public land along the beach here. So I don't think I'm going to get into any trouble in that regard. I'm sure whoever's yacht that is, though, they probably think this is somewhat private. So to get an idea of what the terrain looks like that I'm walking over, it's basically boulders that have been beaten by the ocean for however many hundreds of years. So pretty awkward as far as the footing, but I'm cruising along. So far so good. All right, curiosity has really got the best of me here. I have to know, can I get around this point? Can I get to Xcaret if I want to this route? All right. I think that's the worst of the terrain. And yeah, that looks like the X there. I think that's the Xcaret logo, if I'm not mistaken. I'm seeing 3 or 4 of those at this point. Can't believe we've already walked that far. But yeah, I guess I can believe it. We started pretty early, so. Oh, yep, made it. Still got that. Still got the athleticism, a little shred of it. All right. So, yeah, maybe this is a commercial, not a private. Looks like a commercial boat that belongs to Xcaret, like a ferry. Maybe they go out from here to Isla Mujeres or Holbox or Cozumel or all of the above. I guess we'll find out soon whether or not I'm welcome to be here. I don't see any other people around at all. Oh, there's some security cameras. So, yeah, looks like I might have to wrap it up. I don't see any clear-cut way through here at this point. Oh, I'm gonna climb up here. Shelha, Progreso. So this does look like some type of private dock. I don't know, I guess the worst thing they can do is kick me out, and so I can figure out what these boats are. Still don't really see any private property signs. I'll just wave to the cameras. So yeah, Dad, if you're watching this, no puedo pasar. Son ferias para Holbox. Okay, déjeme salir. Gracias. Que le vaya bien. Okay, so I just got the boot, got kicked out, and so you cannot actually walk all the way to Xcaret. Mystery solved. And I got to get off this property. So drop a like if you enjoyed the journey. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And we will see you guys in the next one.